So this is the Platinum Camera Stabilizer mount. They had it open box at Best Buy, so I was like, you know what, why not? It was like 40 bucks, normally 60, but you know, I figured, hey, it might be cool to have like a pretty good stabilizer mount. So let's take a look at what's actually in the box. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go get my tripod. I'll be right back. Alright, got my tripod, so it's a little bit easier hands-free. We're going to open this guy up and see what is in the box. Alright, so this is the unit. I like it already. The feel is really solid. The steel construction is really nice. It feels very well manufactured. No rough edges or anything like that. Paint's pretty good. The foam grip feels nice. It's that really nice, almost memory foam feel on the handle for the gimbal there. So you got your camera mount here. You know, standard mount for any DSLR cameras or camcorder that you want to put on here. It's got a level right here, so you can level it out. Weight's on the bottom, which is on a little arm that extends, so you can swing the weight to compensate for your camera's build. If your camera's build is a little off-center, the lens is a little heavier to the left or the right, depending on the model of camera you have, you can compensate for that. You can make an adjustment, which is pretty cool. You know, that's a win in that department. So you can also adjust the length of it to give you a better balance on the camera and the weight. So again, solid construction. I like the way it feels already. You have additional weights here in the box. So if you've got a heavier camera mounted on here, you can actually just add a weight down here at the bottom, which should make it, you know, give it a little more stability depending on the camera weight you have mounted up here. So again, yeah, the construction's nice. The benefits for it are pretty good. So I'm excited to try it out. We're gonna go get some footage. I'm gonna hopefully shoot 2 things of footage that will be comparable. We can kind of do them side by side, and I can show you guys how this thing actually works. If it does work, does it actually steady your shots? Does it actually help? So we'll talk about it here in just a minute, and I'll see you guys in a second. All right. So this is the actual stabilizer. It worked pretty well. It seemed to work okay. The biggest thing I didn't like was there was sway. You can see it swaying here. And what I had to end up doing was I had to kind of stabilize the arm a little bit with my hand as I moved around the car. So it works okay. There might be a little more balancing and tweaking that I need to do, but this was getting it level. The level read that the whole thing was level, and I still couldn't get rid of the sway. Maybe adjusting some weights, or the camera might be too heavy for the mount. I'm going to check that as well. So, but it seemed to work okay. I'm excited to see what it does with the with some effects work on it. This is handheld. I actually took the camera off the stabilizer and then tried to do the same pass across the car handheld. So you can definitely see there's a difference in how the camera frame jitters in handheld versus being on the stabilizer. So there is already a benefit to using the stabilizer. It just depends on how much work you want to do in post. The handheld shots that I've taken before always seem to work pretty well, but it definitely helps having something to give you a stable frame right off the get-go. So you know, it works, it functions. This is a side-by-side comparison, just kind of showing you the difference a little more. So the stabilizer's up top, handheld's on the bottom. Again, try to get as close to the same shot as possible. You can definitely see a difference in the stabilizing shot with the stabilizer because it's not as jittery. It's a little smoother motion in the frames. So if you go frame-by-frame basis, you are going to see something a little bit different. But it looks like the stabilizer does do a pretty good job of stabilizing. I just have to figure out how to deal with the sway or find a better way to use it, make sure I'm using it correctly. So I will be going and reviewing that just a little bit. Okay, so here is the stabilizer with warp stabilizer effects on it. It seemed to do a little bit better with that. It wasn't too bad, actually. It seemed to smooth it out okay. It just, you know, warp stabilizer doesn't do well with like jerky movements like right here. It started swaying again, and so warp stabilizer couldn't really decide what to do with that. So you definitely want to shoot with warp stabilizer in mind. So now let's look at the handheld. This is the handheld with the warp stabilizer on it. It seems like it's doing okay. It actually, smoothed it out better than I was expecting. There's a little bit of jitteriness in there, and again, this is just kind of basically putting warp stabilizer effects on there and just kind of leaving it. Didn't really do a whole lot of tweaking with it, so it seems like it does pretty well. Either way, the stabilizer worked a little bit better than the handheld, but again, is what it is. All right, guys, so you saw the footage, you saw the comparison shots. This guy works pretty well. The only thing I have not been able to figure out yet, I'm going to try to solve with a little adjustment, is the sway, the back and forth. This guy just kept swinging left and right when I was using it. That could be a balancing issue. This is a little difficult to balance. So if you're on a budget, it's a pretty good stabilizer, but be prepared to deal with some issues balancing it. It takes a long time to balance and find the right give and take with your camera, and it doesn't really give you an option to kind of reset that pretty easily. So if you take your camera off, you have to kind of rebalance it a little bit again. So a little bit of a pain to use, but it does stabilize the footage a little bit better. So if you're planning on working in post to do some warp stabilization or adjustments there, it does help you out. But so overall, I mean, for 40 bucks, I'm okay with it. It works, it functions. But if you're really serious about getting some really cool Steadicam like shots, I would definitely look at something maybe with a computer in it or some motors in it that kind of give you that added stabilization. But overall, it's a pretty good product for the price, and it works okay. If I had to give it a 5-star rating, I'd probably say 3.5 out of 5. It functions, does well, all that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe and check out some other videos, some of the other reviews I did, and soon I'm gonna have a video up for a new lighting kit that I got. So we'll hopefully have that video up soon or next week. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.